Hello, welcome. I want to make a follow-up to yesterday's video. I talked about intuition and how important it is and how Einstein was close to his intuition. First, he intuited, he realized something or he noticed something, and he had a sense of something. Then he did his thought experiments, then he did the math and so on, and then later experiments confirmed what he knew in his heart from the beginning. He just sort of knew. Now, did he make some mistakes? He did. But if he had been even closer to his intuition, then he wouldn't have made any mistakes. But the point I'm making is you need to be close to your intuition. Anybody that's ever done anything, whether it's an F.W. Woolworth, a J.C. Penney, a Stephen Jobs creating Apple, whether it's an Albert Einstein or a Madame Curie, or a Christopher Columbus, or someone who honored principles, like a George Washington, for example. These people were so close to their intuition that they just knew what was true or what was right, or they strongly suspected it and they wouldn't let go of that. And what do we call that? We call it faith. We also call it self-confidence. That's what you need. Now, what's your problem? When I say I mean the average person. You're not close to your intuition at all. You're far from it. Another word for intuition is conscience. Another way of saying is what you know in your heart. Another way of saying is what you see, what you realize, independently of anything else. But your problem is, again, when I say you, I'm talking to 99.9% of people. Yeah, you have some intuition, but you doubt it. You disregard it. You ignore it. How many times have you, I don't even have to tell you, you've made a lot of mistakes, haven't you? And afterwards you could kick yourself. You say, why? You had a hunch. You got involved with some guy, but you had a hunch. Maybe your friends tried to warn you. They said the guy's no good. But you didn't listen to your intuition, your hunch. Instead, what did you do? Why, you went with your emotions. But anyway, you need self-confidence. You need faith. You need an independent way of realizing and knowing and following that. Like a Christopher Columbus or a George Washington. Like an explorer, a scientist. And you see the result of so what happens then? When you don't follow your intuition, then you have to look for some sort of guidance, don't you? Then where do you look? You look to other people. You look to your friends, you look to experts, and they mislead you. They themselves have lost their intuition. They spend too much time in school, too much time studying, and then they become ambitious. They lose touch with their intuition, and then they look to... Have you ever noticed that somebody says something, and then somebody else picks it up and says it, and somebody looks it up online and says it, and somebody else looks up what they said it, and somebody else... You see what I mean? Then eventually you have this long chain of something that originally the person who said it didn't even know it was true, or maybe he lied and made it up. And then everywhere you have the same. So it's like the blind leading the blind. You have to see, you have to have the original view. Now, if somebody else said something that happens to be true, then you also have to see it for yourself. They say it, and you're not sure. You wait until you see for yourself. That's the key. And anybody that's ever done anything, they follow what they know in their heart, regardless of what other people say. You have to follow what you know in your heart. Stephen Jobs told us that in remember his famous speech that he gave to the graduating class at Stanford. You've got to read that speech. It's not very long, or listen to it. He tells you, follow what you know in your heart, he tells you. Not following procedures and protocols and policies and rules and what it says in your textbook. Yeah, maybe what you say in your textbook is right, and maybe it's not. You have to see it for yourself. How do I use a textbook, a physics textbook or a math textbook? Okay, the math or physics textbook will give me some basics, some math, some calculus, some algebra, some trigonometry, some vector calculus. The physics will give me, okay, some formulas. Here's Lenz's law, here's the Lorentz force, here's Faraday's law, here's Ampere's law, here's Maxwell's equations. Sure, you bet. Here's rotational inertia. Here's the formula for gravity. Sure, okay, so I know all of these things, and then I use them. Then they become like what's the word I want to use? Like little pieces that I can use then to talk. Like if you want to talk to people, you have to have some vocabulary. Okay, so I have some little math and some physics and science vocabulary, and then some religious vocabulary. But then how do they come together? So those are simply used, just like a plant uses some little minerals and things from the soil. But where does the plant really get its inspiration and its life and its love? Where does it get it? From the sun. All right, so from my intuition, from the inner light, from God, I get, all of a sudden one day, I just noticed something. It was leaves. Why do leaves always swirl? Everything seems to form spirals and circles revolving. If I drop some cold cream into my hot coffee, some drops of cold cream into my hot coffee, on the surface of the coffee, you have swirls, spiraling swirls like a galaxy. You look at the Milky Way galaxy. Look at the swirl on the top of your coffee. Why? See? So I notice these little things. Then time goes by, and one day I see. So now that's where you have to be. Now, I said yesterday, and here's where I want to follow up with this. I said you have to be closer to your intuition than Einstein. The things that Einstein realized, you can realize much more. That's right. Much more. You can realize in a flash what takes the scientists of the world and the theologians of the world and the common wisdom of the world. It takes them centuries. You can realize it in a flash. Now, why do you need that? Now, this is the point I wanted to make. That's why I'm making this follow-up video here. Because this is important. You need your intuition. You need to locate it. You need to pay attention to it. You need to follow it. Because you need it to live. You need it for life. You need it in those delicate moments with your partner and your kids. When your child comes to you with something, or your partner comes to you with something. Sometimes everything depends on what you say or do in that moment. If you mess it up, how many of you can remember where someone said something to you they shouldn't have said? They said it, and you've never forgotten it. How many times did you go to someone looking for understanding, especially when you were a kid, and all they gave you was they brushed you off? You have to be divinely inspired in the moment so that you don't mess up your life and don't mess up your relationship with your kids and with your partner, with anybody. You need to know, you need to have that, you need to have wisdom, understanding, insight when it comes to some of these important issues in life. If you don't, if you make the wrong decision, you're dead. You make the wrong decision, you mess up your relationship, and so on. Now, fortunately, for those of us who have a future, God permits us to make some mistakes, and He prevents us from making the fatal mistake. Some people, they make the fatal mistake, don't they? It's some people, you don't make the fatal mistake. You're lucky. Well, you're not lucky. You're blessed. And you get away with it. But when you're young, maybe you get away with it, but you're not going to get away with it forever. There comes a time in life when you have to have that wisdom. When your child is there or your partner is there, you have to know what to say in the moment. It has to be perfect. It has to have the right timing. It has to be the right thing. It has to have the right energy. And it has to be perfect. And for that, there's only one place that you can get that perfect answer. It's from your intuition. It's from God. It's from the inner light. And, they come to you and you don't know what to say. But you want to say the right thing. That's important. You want to say the right thing or do the right thing. Deeply. Why? Because you want to honor truth. And you have some sort of a love for the person. And you make that more important than your own ego. And if the right thing is to say, hey, I messed up, I'm sorry. If that's the right thing, then you say it. I did you wrong. When you were a kid, I did you wrong. I'm sorry. You say it. But if you have a big ego and you want to preserve your pride, it won't work. But if you really, really want to do the right thing, and then you also see in God, in the light, that you don't know, then you just wait. And then, with that pure intent, you want to do the right thing, but you see that you don't know what it is. Then you wait, and then maybe something comes to you, a word, a gesture, you say it, and it's perfect. Or maybe nothing comes to you, and then nothing needs to be said. So now do you understand why you need intuition? So that's why the meditation helps. You have to get started. The problem is, I say this in my book. I just wrote a book called Contemporary Contemplation with reflections on Miguel de Molinos. He's a well-known mystic, spiritual writer, and he wrote a book called The Spiritual Guide. So I updated the language to make it modern. I took out the these and thous and the twists and twixts and tisn'ts and took those out and made it more readable. But along the way, I decided to write a book to go along with it called Contemporary Contemplation. And in that book, I say that what the problem is, some people, they want to do the right thing. They want to know what's true. But they don't know how to get started because they get lost in thoughts, lost in all the stuff they've absorbed and imbibed in school and all the memories and then all the emotions swirling and they don't know where to get started. So a good place to start is with the simple little meditation that I have. It's free. I've made it free. You can listen. You can dial the call-in number and listen to it on your phone. You can go to the website, and there it is as a video, or there it is to download as an audio. See, and it's free. It helps you to get started. So that would be a nice beginning. So I think I've made my points today that I wanted to make, and I got to the bottom line of why you need intuition. See, yeah, maybe you'll make some wonderful discoveries. You'll realize some beautiful things. That's nice. That's a gift from God. It's sweet. But far sweeter is knowing what is discovering, not knowing what to say. No, you don't know what to say. Discovering. In the moment, you discover what to say. Or not say, maybe nothing. You discover it, and it's alive, and it's inspired, and it comes from another dimension. You need that.